See, there's a problem on YouTube. There are a lot of problems, but one in particular, and it has to do with lighting. There's this idea that certain lighting looks, quote, cinematic, but let's be real, the idea of what is cinematic and what isn't cinematic is completely lost in today's culture of online sharing, and the fact that most things that are labeled cinematic never even see the screen of a cinema. So let's go ahead and ditch that word and talk about motivated lighting in movies, within the cinema, why it's cinematic, and why it's so different. What's up guys, my name is Sean from White Jade Productions, and today's video is discussing the difference between YouTube or corporate general lighting and actual lighting for short films, feature films, commercials, documentaries, things that are supposed to really suck you into a world and a story and keep you there and not just look good, but actually tell a story. Because the problem with YouTube lighting is it's just supposed to look good, and it does a phenomenal job at that. I do it all the time. When I'm shooting talking head videos, I'm not trying to put you into a different world, different story. I'm not trying to share with you the adventures of Bilbo Baggins, and I'm not trying to sell you on Superman, the strongest man alive. I'm just trying to tell you some information, and in all honesty, I don't need to create a whole world to do that. So I just make something that looks good. But a lot of the times, people see that and see, oh, it looks good. That's what a client wants. Oh, that's what I should do for a job. And that's completely wrong. So in this video, we're gonna break down this setup that I'm currently running that is definitely more geared towards a cinematic approach or a short film documentary than it is a YouTube video. But in a second, we're also gonna jump into my studio and set up what would be good studio lighting. In fact, I might even just do it here just to show you the dramatic difference in what looks good for the cinema and what looks good to share on socials and YouTube. In this video, we've actually already kind of started the test. If you noticed it, good job. The first thing that really sells cinematic lighting is keeping things natural. If you've noticed, nothing about this looks natural. At the same time, none of this is lit in a natural way whatsoever. In fact, there's lights lighting everything. Even this lamp is a light. We're not using an actual bulb. I'm just twisting this little tube light. This is a little 4-inch tube light I have from Newer. If you want these, they are in the description. I find them very useful, especially for things like this, but it gives off the exact color temp I want because I'm actually shifting everything in camera a little cooler. I think I'm at 4200 Kelvin because it's a little cloudy outside. And that's the second thing. If you notice that, good job. You can see the sky, you can see the tree out there. It is cloudy, so it does look a little white, but it doesn't look too white. This isn't clipping. And I actually had to do a lot. You saw me put on my matte box that has a mist filter, which is gonna roll off my highlights a little bit. And also I have 3 stops of ND on, which is gonna help darken everything. And I've dropped my ISO down to 640 or 500, I think. I'm somewhere around there, I'll put it on the screen. That's what's doing a lot of this. But we're gonna open Sidus Link. First, I'm gonna cut off both my 100D that's pointing into the ceiling and the 60X that's giving me this motivated light. Okay, we're gonna do that. I'm gonna take this out and we're gonna turn that off. Next, I'm going to grab this. This is my Quasar. This is giving me that eye light that doesn't look good anyways. I'm gonna stick that on a C-stand. And then I'm gonna kick off my key. Well, I can't even see myself on my monitor. That is how much that's doing. That is a lot. Now I do want to go in reverse. We're gonna go ahead and kick on, that's the indoor light and my rim light. That's crazy. It's crazy that it's even doing that much. That is really, it's lighting up the space. And then if I add this here, suddenly this looks realistic too. This isn't weirdly unrealistic, but obviously you want to see a character. So that is where that key light comes in, and that is just off to the side, and it's motivating this window light, and that is really what's selling the look. And then I'll turn on my eye light, my catch light here, I guess. Does that look better over there as a catch light? I think it does. I don't really know. I have to kind of be at my camera to see that. Awkward. Don't have a cam op with me today. I usually don't when I shoot YouTube videos, but this is what sells this look. This is how you get the cinematic look. Just motivate it, make it look real. If it doesn't look real, you're wrong. Very simple. A trick I picked up a while ago, and I'm blanking on who mentioned it. I was watching a YouTube video, so some other YouTuber, but it was start with the practicals and work your way up. So start with filling the ambient space. Start with your lamps. If you have an eye light or you're planning to do that, start with that. There are other small splash light things you can do later. Like if I were doing a sunset thing, I would 100% like light up this wall with like some streaks of sunlight coming in, but that's not what I'm doing. We're doing a different thing. But and then hit the key light last. That's what I've been told. Hit the key light last, just because there can be a tendency to over punch the key light. In fact, it's at 100% right now. It might be over punched. In fact, I'm gonna turn it down. Let's see how that looks. Okay, I went and turned it down a lot. I did like how it looked before. That if I just tilt my head like that, yeah, that light up there suddenly gets a little more obvious that it's fake. But this isn't an unrealistic look either. Really dialing in what you're shooting for, what your story is how you're gonna sell this the most. Obviously, I'm not shooting a story right now. This is a YouTube video, so I can only do so much. I don't have motivation other than this window. This window and this lamp, that's my only motivation. That's all I need. Now, we're gonna change things up. I think I am gonna shoot this in the same space. I said I was gonna do the studio, but maybe for simplicity's sake, I'm gonna do the same space. I'm gonna change everything. We're gonna change how this looks. This is about to get a lot warmer. We're gonna make this look like sunset. It's cloudy outside, which allows me to do that, but we're gonna make this look like sunset. Here we go. Okay, and we're back. This is not even remotely close to what we just had. I have moved my key light way closer, like it's within arm's reach. I have put a light outside, which is kind of like lighting up this wall right here. When I go to the wide, you'll see that a little bit better. There's a few things right now. My sky is clipping, but not totally. It's just barely clipping. So it really shouldn't matter. You can see the tree, it's fake enough, it's sunset, it's gonna clip anyways. So this is a studio look, and this looks good. Arguably to some, this probably looks better, but it's not real. If I were shooting a movie and I did this look, this would be bad. Okay, if I jump back to this wide, completely different look. Like just from what was earlier to this now, insanely different. You can feel that there's a light right off screen. Like if I just, that looks cool as frick. That looks dope. Here we go. I might even bring this down. That still feels so studio-y, even if I'm trying to like let natural light in. This feels like there's a light 2 feet from my face. And that's because there is. If you're gonna work in a professional way, whether you're a DP, videographer, call yourself cinematographer, you're a gaffer, you do whatever, you need to learn the difference between corporate interview lighting, YouTube lighting, short film lighting, documentary lighting, and feature film lighting. They all look different. When you get to corporate stuff, sometimes there can just be a softbox off screen, and that's fine, but your end goal should make things look real. If you're not doing that, if that's not your goal, and you're doing anything other than a YouTube video or an Instagram video, then you're doing it wrong. And that just takes practice. It takes learning. It takes getting the sense of what's going on. And unfortunately, YouTube won't teach you that, at least not for the most part. I would suggest literally sitting down, watching movies and just going, why does this not look lit? Why does it look so good? No Country, great movie. I finally watched it for the first time. It looks so good. Doesn't look lit. Like it's one of the films that I've seen that I'm like, this doesn't look lit. You watch John Wick and you're like, it doesn't look lit, but it looks lit. Still good though. You watch a film like that and you're like, this just looks like somebody went out and put a camera on their shoulder and was like, all right, action, just record what the script says. It doesn't look produced. That's why things look cinematic. That's why things look good. That's why you believe them. And I think it's Roger Deakins, that said, some interviewer was asking him, he was like, not much has been said about your cinematography in this latest film. What's up with that? Trying to get at him. And he responds with, well, that's a good thing. If they're not talking about me and my lighting and my camera work, that means I did a good job. And that could not be truer when it comes to lighting specifically. If people are talking about it, that doesn't mean it's bad, but it means they noticed. Your job when you're lighting is to make sure people don't notice because it looks so darn real. Anywho, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. It helps me do more videos like this. And the more people like, comment, and subscribe, the more in depth I can get in the future. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time.